since I spoke to you guys last, just less than 10 minutes ago. The protesters have completely breached these stairs. They have flooded the stairs. There are continued reports that they're using tear gas, pepper spray, other chemical agents to disperse the crowd. They're also using smoke, which I only know because I can smell it.
So world leaders made a lot of promises during the first 3 days of the summit. So give us a little bit of a recap here.
Lots of ambitious plans that they made there, Baker, from methane gas emissions to deforestation. World leaders are really on board to make sure that they can make some massive cuts to really put climate change first.
The case worked its way through lower courts before landing here in Washington. At question, can states be sued for copyright infringement? Thanks, Dean. The governor visited New Bern today, and when he did, he saw all this. Not just one, but two homes, the other across the street, flattened by the brute force of Florence. In some cases, that storm surge around here reaching several feet. Now, we have already seen the impact across this area, and really two different stories are playing out. In some cases, folks already looking to the cleanup process, looking to rebuild. In other cases, like those here, folks have no place to call home. Everywhere you look, Florence left its mark. Boats dumped on dry land, river water washed into homes.
We've sprayed several times with an anti-mold agent.
In some cases, they are already starting the gutting out process, removing the floor and walls. Many count themselves as lucky, saying it could have been worse.
Everything we sell is just stuff that we can replace. It's luxury items.
At the Franklin Antique Mall, they're clearing everything out, separating what can be kept from what needs to be tossed.
We got people here that we don't know who they are helping out today because they want us to be successful.
Just to give you a better sense of the power of the storm surge, this trailer here was originally parked way over there in front of the store before the storm began. It was supposed to serve as a sort of buffer against the winds. The governor, who surveyed the damage in New Bern Monday, says the recovery process will last months, possibly even years.
Our infrastructure, we got to help businesses get back on their feet, and we got to help people.
But while some are able to rebuild their homes, others have no home to go back to. The storm surge flattening whole buildings in one neighborhood, a place where people just do not have the money to rebuild.
For these people that live here, they're really out of options right now, and that's unfortunate, and they're going to need help. They really are.
Back in this community now, this is a sign that is sitting right next to one of these flattened homes. It reads, "Yes, we need help. God bless America." And so that begs the question, what happens to these families now?
Nobody has done for the African American community what President Trump has done, other than Abraham Lincoln.
But the African Americans out in the street, people out in the street who are calling for change in systemic racism and justice in policing.
Well, because they listen to people like you, and that you don't tell the facts. You don't talk about criminal justice reform.
Sir, what is your objection to the bill?
Suggestion, if you would like to be sort of a professional reporter.
With all due respect, sir, what is your objection to the 9/11 first responder bill?
If you'll call and get an interview, that'd be a great idea.
Well, I understand you have issues with the national debt.
If you watch Fox News,
is that your objection, sir?
If you watch Fox News, you'll see that we explained exactly what the lies were. So watch Fox News and your viewers.
Do you mind clearing that up, sir? What do you mean by the lies? Is there anything else you can tell us, sir? All right, thank you, Senator.
Down a windy road, nestled in the fields of Culpeper County, Virginia, is a profound piece of history that's never been told. How do you feel when you stand here and you take a look at this monument? What comes to mind?
It's like standing in front of the Washington Monument, which is kind of, in a smaller sense, but it's commemorating, whoever these men were. And like I said, we don't know, they could have been relatives of mine.
It's quiet. Appropriately so, honoring 3 veterans of the United States colored troops who were captured and executed just 300 feet away from this very spot.
We don't know from Black history about these soldiers. It was just a white Confederate soldier that wrote us and said, we captured 3 Negro soldiers, we shot them and left them laying on the road. So we don't know their names, we don't know who they were. And so Willis Madden, who owned the tavern, he decided to have them buried, but we don't know exactly where they're buried.
So now, as many Civil War monuments representing the Confederacy are torn down, this monument has risen to speak for men who have, until now, remained voiceless.
You got to know your history. And I believe, as Reverend Triplett has said, is that there are sides of truth. And we need to tell our side of the truth. Our truth is not in the history books. So we have to get our truth out one way or the other.
So often when talking about American history, we only hear one perspective. And this monument is a start to the full story.
To understand the courage that it took for those men to enter a war, they were actually fighting for their lives. They were fighting for their freedom. Our ancestors were fighting for a lifestyle. It's just no comparison.
The Maddenville Historic Site sits on the Civil War Trail, a place to honor the forgotten lives lost and reflect on the nation's difficult past. This story is now being told, and experts believe there are many more stories just like this one to tell.
We got to find out, the haystack. So this is one haystack. We just know it's
This is the one needle in the haystack.
Yeah, just one needle. We found one needle.
You got one needle.
One needle. That's it.
We got plenty more to look for, though.
Oh, plenty more haystacks out there all across the country.
Piecing together the true, complete story of American history. Ariel Hickson, Cheddar News.
We'll make fresh at the festival an apple fritter. So that's a sliced apple coated with a donut mix, deep fried, and then we cover it with a lot of sugar, a lot of cinnamon, and it's really a staple. A lot of people that come to the festival always look forward to our fritters. They're the only fritters at Apple Fest, and they're the best. We have 3 peelers going, so we have a crew that's always peeling fresh apples all day long. So after they're sliced, they go into a set of folks who we call gloppers, and they actually will take and coat all the apples. After that, they're picked up by dippers, and they actually will take those and actually drop them into our fryers. We have 4 commercial fryers. And then once they're fried, they go over to our sugar and spice girls, and they turn around and they coat everything up, and then we sell them. We actually have a lot of folks that will come towards the end of the day, and they'll end up taking 20, 40. They'll take a good amount home to freeze them so they can have them later on at their home.
What do we want? Green New Deal! Now! We are shutting Washington, D.C. down to demand that action is taken on climate. There's too many decisions in Washington, D.C. that are happening on a daily basis that are actually about hurting communities on behalf of the fossil fuel industry. So we needed to send a very strong message that business as usual needs to stop.